This Week in Startups is brought to you by Capterra, the leading free online resource to find the best software solution. Visit capterra.com/twist for free today to find the right tools to make 2019 the year for your business. Gusto is easy online payroll, benefits, and HR built for modern small businesses. Get 3 months free when you run your first payroll at gusto.com/twist. And LinkedIn. To redeem a free $100 LinkedIn ad credit and launch your first campaign, go to linkedin.com/thisweekinstartups. Upcoming launch events. Apply for the next Launch Accelerator cohort. Applications are due December 23rd. Learn more and apply at launchaccelerator.co.
Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Startups. On the program today is Brian Chen. He is the CEO and co-founder of Room.com, which makes phone booths. You make phone booths. That's what you do, Brian.
That's right, soundproof phone booths.
And most people would look at this and say, is this a technology business? Is this like a great idea for a startup? But you and I were talking because I noticed that you partnered with Com.com to make a signature crossover
Limited edition collaboration.
So you made a phone booth with the Com logo on it. What else does it do? It has smoked glass. We're looking at it here. So it's a phone booth.
Yeah. So first of all, I guess the phone booth ships flat, assembles on site. It's designed to give a little bit of peace and quiet in the open floor plan. And the Calm collaboration, the design of the booth is inspired by Calm's nature imagery. The frosted door gives visual privacy because it would be a little bit weird if you were meditating inside and people could see you.
That could be a little awkward.
And then actually it comes bundled with 12 one-year subscriptions for the Calm Premium app.
And it's painted nicely inside with some greenery, and it's got some nice wood finishes, and it's $4,000. Now, these phone booths, these little, I guess, quiet booths, have become actually a very large business. You charge $3,000 for a booth. It comes flatly packed.
$34.95. Yeah.
$34.95. It comes flat packed, so you kind of build it like IKEA, but built better, I guess.
Yeah.
And these things have been flying off the shelves. You have done how much revenue?
We're on track to do over $30 million this year.
All right. And you're making so much money that you were able to buy the domain name Room.com? That's $1 million domain. What'd you get that for, 300?
We don't really talk about that.
Well, you're a guest on the program. You got to bring a little something here. I mean, I'm talking to you about a goddamn phone booth. Give me something.
What, no, I mean, it's
six figures or seven?
We're paying it for over 5 years. So.
Oh, over 5 years. So it's $1 million domain. You pay for it over 5 years. It's worth it. Why did you choose to do that?
Room, we're trying to build a brand that it becomes known and synonymous with fun, productive, creative work environments. Yeah. So if you know that you want to build something over the long term, then having that domain is critical. Right? It's critical for credibility, for recognition, and it pays for itself, honestly, when you think about if you're ever doing any offline advertising or if word of mouth is important. Any of these things, it starts to pay for itself.
Makes total sense if you are doing radio advertising or any of those things. Now, people save a lot of money with open floor plans, but the downside is if you need to make a phone call, you have to take up the whole conference room for one phone call.
Absolutely.
And so these phone booths have become a thing.
Well, the other downside is mental health.
Yeah.
Because in the open floor plan, it's very distracting. It's noisy. You can never find a moment to focus.
Yeah, but now people do like you do library rules. That's what we have is library rules, which I think is like, you can whisper, but if you're going to have a longer, full-blown conversation, take it into a conference room or take it outside or whatever. Yeah. That's kind of the ground rules now, right?
We had a library room in our office as well. We ended up having to...
No, I said library rules.
Oh, library rules. Yeah.
So basically you just tell your employees, like, listen, we're going to have an open floor plan, but it's library rules, which means you don't just start talking to people randomly when they're reading a book. You let them read the goddamn book. And if you're going to say something, it's a whisper. And if you're going to have a conversation, you take it outside.
Well, when you have the library rules, then it kind of defeats I think, the original intention of the open floor plan, which was like, because the open floor plan originally was designed to encourage more conversation, more interaction and collaboration.
Yep.
So when you introduce the library rules, it kind of, it's
Defeats
actually
it a little bit,
defeats the purpose.
Yeah, and now people put headphones on, and then I think the new thing is, I told everybody, like, if you're in focus mode, they should just you should take a yellow Post-it and put it on your monitor like a flag on the top, like right-hand side of your monitor. That's the new standard. Okay, everybody, we're going to do this starting with this episode. If you're in an open office plan and you need to focus, just write the word focus on a Post-it and put it in the top right-hand corner. Take it down when you're done.
We've seen some pretty funny products. There was one that was kind of like horse blinders.
Yeah, that's great. That's hilarious.
And that was another way, visual indication that you're supposed to be focusing, and gives you that.
How long have you been
privacy.
doing this?
We started in mid-2017.
And you build these in China? You build them in America? How difficult is it to build like one of these little rooms?
We actually have 2 contract manufacturers. One is in Portugal and one is in Indiana.
Portugal and Indiana. Now, wait a second. Most people would think if you're going to build something like this, you'd be going to China. Why are you going to Portugal, of all places, and Indiana?
So I've actually worked with manufacturers in China before, and while the per unit cost might end up being really low or appear to be really low, there are lots of hidden costs. Right? There's the cost. Travel becomes non-trivial. There's the psychological.
You traveling there.
Yeah, because if you work with a Chinese manufacturer, then you really do need to travel there.
To make sure they're doing a quality job. Is that the reason?
Exactly.
Interesting.
And so the travel, not just the like kind of dollar costs becomes expensive, but the emotional and kind of like cost to your well-being also is
people who do this are constantly getting on planes.
Yeah,
they're doing 10 flights a year.
And usually, if you are manufacturing in China, then you're going to want a minimum order quantity of like 10,000 units or something, and that's actually one of the things that makes it really difficult to be capital efficient. So our product is one where the logistics is a significant cost driver. And so it doesn't really make sense actually for us to have our product sit on a boat for 30 days.
To save $500 a unit or $1,000 a unit. Right. If you make it in Portugal, I assume that's for all of Europe.
Yeah.
And then Indiana, you can ship to anywhere in the United States, and it costs you a couple $100 to ship. Which one?
Yeah, more or less.
$200 or $300.
Yeah.
It's not cheap. Do you assemble them too, or you just people assemble them themselves?
We have a network of last mile carriers that will also take care of assembly. But it can be self-assembled, but we offer white glove as well.
How'd you come up with the idea?
Well, it definitely starts just like everybody knows and understands the pain point, right? But the idea was actually presented to me by Ryan Peterson, 2 YC guys. So Ryan Peterson from Flexport and Henrik Zilmer from AirHelp. I had just left my last company, which was called Blue Smart, and was in...
Yeah, you were on the podcast at 483 episode. What was Blue Smart again? I'm trying to remember.
It was a suitcase company that had location tracking and weight sensing.
What happened? Didn't work out?
The company ended up getting acquired by Travel Pro, but there was actually a ban issued by airlines on
the battery packs.
On the battery packs.
Why did that happen? Why did they ban the battery pack? Because I travel with Anchor battery packs, like 4 of them.
Yeah.
I've got an iPad Pro, Giant, and a laptop. They all have batteries, and I have 2 phones. I mean, I literally have 5 to 10 pounds of batteries with me. Why does the one in my carry-on matter?
Well, I think that, it happened also with hoverboards, and it happened with the Samsung Galaxy 7, right? Where... more so with the hoverboards, there end up being a lot of copycats of unknown quality. And if you're not producing batteries to the right certifications, they can become hazardous. So I think the airlines were just making kind of a blanket statement.
They had a scare.
Yeah.
And they said no more smart luggage with batteries in them.
Yeah.
But totally fine to bring other batteries with you.
Yeah.
And when that happens to your company, do you have the ability to then prove to the airlines that you have batteries that are just as good as the Anchor one that's in my backpack?
We actually worked with the regulatory agencies that like define what's safe to bring on flights and whatnot. And we got a letter of interpretation where we submitted all of the documentation about our battery and our product, and they actually greenlit our product. So it was it was a blanket statement issued by airlines. That's kind of what happened.
I had this happen to me on a flight. I had an away bag. I had the first version
Yeah.
with the non-removable battery. And I get on, and I was one of the last people on the flight, and the woman's like, "Oh, is that an away bag?" And I was like, "Yeah, I just got it." And she's like, "Oh, that's not allowed on the flight." And I'm like, "All right, so what do you want me to do?" And she's like, "Well, you can take the battery out." I'm like, so I open the thing up. I'm like, it's kind of screwed in here. Unless you have a screwdriver, I don't think I can. And they literally held the plane for like 5 minutes and put the bag underneath. So you're allowed to have the bags under the plane, just not in the cabin.
Yeah.
I can't understand any of this logic.
Me neither.
So you only raised $2 million for this company, and you got it to $30 million in revenue. It seems incredibly efficient. The product's got 30, 40, 50% margin, something reasonable.
Yeah.
When we get back from this commercial break, I want to understand why you only raised $2 million. Was that a function of the fact that it's a hard business to raise money for because venture capitalists don't think it's a tech business? Or is it because you just knew how to do it on a nickel and didn't want to dilute your cap table? When we get back on This Week in Startups. You need to find the perfect software to solve your problem at work. But how do you find it? Well, you go to Capterra because you need to find a solution fast to whatever your pressing issue is, and you really want to know what all your options are. Well, with over 1 million reviews now in 700 specific categories of software, you can right now figure out if the software you already paid for is the right software, or if you need to upgrade it, or if you need to add something, right? And here, my guy Presh at launch is looking for new sales automation software. We need to make that sales process really efficient. And with Capterra, he goes through all the reviews. He sets a couple of filters, like the number of employees we're going to use in the system. And he gets this nice side-by-side comparison of different products with the ratings for how easy they are to use. Because some software is really complicated, some is really easy. That's the value proposition, right? As well as obviously the value for money and the features and the functionality. Well, we picked and we were able to select the free trial option, and we tested it out, and we went with Pipedrive. It turns out Pipedrive solved some problems for us, and we got that because we used Capterra. Capterra is amazing. It's basically like Yelp, but for software. And I've always wanted a Zagat or a Yelp for software, and it exists at Capterra, CAPTERRA.com/twist. Go to capterra.com/twist today, and this is how much it costs. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You're going to find great tools, and they save millions of people. They got to save them billions of hours of research and mistakes. Don't make a mistake. Get software selection simplified. That's it. Software selection simplified. Capterra.com/twist. Okay, let's get back to this episode. All right, Brian Chen's back on the program. He was on episode 483 with Blue Smart and Smart Luggage. That company, what? You sold it?
It was acquired by Travel Pro.
Good sale, bad sale, single, double, triple? Single?
Single.
By getting hit with the ball? Kind of like one of those?
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens. But you
Hit
still
by
got
a
on
pitch.
base.
Hit by a pitch.
You got hit by a pitch, you got on base. Yeah, it happens. So you have this next idea for Room.com. You get $2 million from 2 angel investors.
Well, actually, our seed round was led by Slow Ventures.
Oh, Dave Morin.
Yeah, exactly.
And his crew.
And Sam
okay.
Lesson and Kevin Collar and Wilquist.
You were able to convince venture capitalists to invest in a furniture company. How did that conversation go? How did you convince them to do that? Because most people would say this is a lifestyle business, not a venture scale business. Certainly you got that feedback.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think
How'd you overcome it?
Well, the insight for us was that it's not just about noise and privacy in the office.
Yeah.
It's the fact that office layout designs honestly are failing people, right? When you Google open floor plan, the first 10 articles that you see are about how much people hate
Some people
the
hate
offices. It's well, if you Google open floor plan, it's pretty universal, the vitriol.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that people would rather be in an office?
People hate the distraction, the noise. People would rather have a little bit of privacy.
Huh. Okay. So still, how?
So it's over 50% of people who have complained to their bosses about noise.
Okay.
And people literally call in sick because of this.
No,
right?
I get the use case and the need in the market. What I'm getting at is, how did you convince investors who are venture investors who normally invest in software that can scale much faster than a furniture company? How did you get them to, aside from the use case, make a venture investment in what most people would say is a lifestyle business, a furniture business? How did you overcome that?
Well, part of it, I would say it's twofold. One, a lot of the story when we did our seed round was about an innovative go-to-market, and very similar to direct-to-consumer companies who are bringing, e-commerce plays, direct-to-consumer e-commerce plays to old industries. There was that angle and that story as well, right? So if you think about The Office, there aren't any brands really that are known and to resonate with the millennial workforce. So there was
Herman Miller, those things, Aeron chairs.
Yeah, I mean, they sell like $10,000 chairs. Nobody's going to get really
excited about
it, right? So we felt that there was a gap where we could build a brand in this kind of new era of brand building, and that we could, instead of a company like Herman Miller where they only sell through dealers, we could actually have a direct channel selling directly to businesses.
Was the way you got over that, hey, is this just a lifestyle business, you're just selling furniture? Is no, we're going to be able to do online direct-to-consumer marketing, cut out the middlemen, not have resellers, and keep all this profit for ourselves.
Exactly. But it's actually evolved over time, right? So that, I think that insight remains true. There is this opportunity to have this direct-to-consumer play for businesses and to build a brand in the modern workplace. But I think what we've also realized is the fact that that we're replacing construction. The alternative to our product is literally calling up your landlord, getting a building permit, hiring a general contractor, and like hammer and nail to build a physical room. The fact that we're replacing that means that this is a totally new product category. Right.
So when somebody wants to rent an office space and there's like one conference room and 30 desks, and they're like, there's not enough conference rooms, we're going to pass on the space. They say, well, we can just throw in 4 of these rooms and you got these phone booths here or whatever, and you're all set. That's an interesting observation as well. So
we want to essentially totally change the way that tenant improvements are done. So, I mean, you've moved offices many times, and every single time, I mean, we're moving from a world where 7 to 10 year leases were the norm to a world in which people want and demand a lot more flexibility, right?
I mean, people love WeWork. They don't want to sign big leases. That makes total sense. But these, I wonder if you've thought about the fact that there's got to be a half dozen people doing this right now. And of course, you have the giant elephant in the room, Amazon, or somebody like that, who can take a knockoff from China and sell it for $1,000. How do you look at making this defensible in some way? Because isn't all furniture kind of like and clothing and these kind of factory built stuff a race to the bottom? How do you convince the investors that it's not going to just be a race to the bottom?
Well, I don't think it's going to be a race to the bottom because, I mean, the innovation for us is not just the product, but it is the entire experience around it, right? So it is the seamless purchase experience, the delivery, we have really high NPS. That's actually really hard to do if you're trying to buy something on Alibaba, right?
Right.
That's part of the answer, just like customer loyalty, building up that brand, right? I think the other
domain name.
Yeah, exactly. Room.com. And thus the partnership with Calm. This is not just a commoditized knockoff product. This is something that that makes an impact on health and wellness in the office. And it's a brand and a company that stands for something. Right?
Are people buying a lot of stuff off Alibaba and like getting this direct shipment of like furniture from China? Like all
not
these
really,
counterfeits and stuff?
And I think that speaks to why it's not a race to the bottom, right? Because
but they do let you do that now, right? Alibaba's here in America.
Yeah.
And I started playing with it, and I was amazed. Like I was looking for a new desk for this like studio, and I was thinking about podiums, and I started looking for like party furniture for our events and podiums, and I was amazed at the array of knockoffs of famous furniture from like really high-end builders. And then you type in the name of that builder and you find like somebody's made like a variation on it.
Yeah.
It's not, none of this is protectable with IP, right? Or is furniture protectable?
Well, the design, we have design patents that we've already filed.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're definitely moving away from a world in which people are buying products for product's sake. Like people are buying a solution, right? And so if you're setting up an office, you're not just looking for a desk or a phone booth. You're looking for a great workplace environment that's going to be attractive to the people who work there. So you know, the defensibility comes from being able to understand that and being able to offer a true solution for building a great workplace environment, building a place that will attract and retain talent.
You have, I saw at one of my portfolio companies, I think it was Density, had like one, it's not yours, but it was like a double wide one and had a little table in it. You just do the one phone booth right now.
Yeah.
You're going to do that double one. That seems to be the big win. It's like, it's almost like a conference room in a box. It kind of goes to your thing about building out.
Yeah, replacing
spaces.
construction.
Replacing construction.
No, absolutely. That's definitely in our roadmap. And we've actually partnered with Density on certain things where to understand how space is being utilized. Right?
Oh, you think about putting a density sensor on it?
Well, so we did a case study where we placed these density sensors in an office, no phone booths, and then we dropped in 6 phone booths. And what we wanted to understand
what happened with the conference rooms
is, yeah, exactly. So you start seeing the 1 or 2 people who are taking up a conference room just for their phone call or video conferencing. They're now using the phone booth, and it relieves the conference room congestion, right? But the fact that, so I love what Density does because they bring data and to understand how offices are being used, and they might recommend. They did this report actually, right, where they found that 76% of meetings are between 1 to 4 people. And they might recommend, hey, you actually need more phone booths, but there's no way to do that unless you have a very modular.
Yeah, for people who don't know, Density is an investment we made, I think 2014, so it's 5 or 6 years ago. They were at our launch festival back in the day. And what they do is they have a reader that goes above doors, and they count the number of people coming in, but it's not done with a camera, so you don't have like creepy privacy issues. Like we have drop cams in our studio and stuff like that, and some people are like freaked out about like, oh my god, there's cameras in the workplace. It's like, yeah, every workplace has cameras now, like you have to, like for security. But you don't have to worry about that because you're just capturing the body, like just the image of a body through computer vision, not through computer vision, but through another technology, and they can just tell you how many people are in the cafeteria with a high degree of.
Well, and they can tell you how many people are in this 10-person conference room, right?
Yeah, and how many came in,
and whether it's being utilized, and that's where you think about the cost of real estate, especially in a place like San Francisco. If you can make meeting rooms that much more efficient, then you're just saving tons of money.
So you're selling about 1,000 of these a month. Something in that range,
right.
Just doing back of the envelope. What I want to understand is how you're able to do something so seemingly capital intensive, but with so little money when we get back on the Swinging Startups. Small business owners have to wear a lot of hats. You got to do your product, you got to do hiring, you got to build a sales team, maybe PR, customer support. There's a lot on your plate. I know this. I invest in I did 80 companies this year. And one of the most acute things they deal with is payroll, taxes, and HR. These things are mission critical. You cannot mess with people's paper or their paychecks. These things have to be dialed in and perfect. And if you want it to be perfect, you just use Gusto. Gusto, Gusto. We use Gusto constantly in all of our companies, in my companies. Everybody loves it. The interface is elegant and simple. So if you use Gusto, it's going to be perfect. My former chief of staff and now managing director, Ashley, uses this and makes sure everything works perfectly at my investment company launch. It's quick and easy onboarding of new employees. boom, you get people up and running quickly and easily, and it's persistent and helpful communication, but never annoying. So it will stay on top of things. Hey, if you want to take a day off, how many days do you have, etc. And the customer service on chat and phone are flawless. They've really invested in that. And you want to have all that payroll and benefits in one place. Commuter benefits, we added that. Health, dental, vision, 401k, 529, that's for your kids, school, HSA. All of that under one elegant and simple roof. So it's the best time for you to get 2020 set up and beyond. So don't wait. Listeners get 3 months free when they run their first payroll. What? 3 months free? It's 25% of the year. So get a demo and see for yourself why everybody loves Gusto. gusto.com/twist. That's gusto.com/twist, TWIST, to get those 3 months free. I highly endorse this company. We use it. I mean, that's the highest endorsement, and I love it. Okay, let's get back to this amazing podcast. Welcome back. Brian Chen is here from room.com. They make quiet little phone booths that are beautiful and much more affordable than building it yourself, because having a carpenter come do it would be $5, $6, $7,000, I'm guessing. And if you're building 10 of them in an office, God, they're probably going to charge $150,000, and 10 from you will be $35,000. So it's a pretty good deal, and you can drop them in anywhere. How are you able to get to this level of sales without raising more money? I am amazed at how capital efficient you've been. How do you make it so capital efficient?
For us, it was really at the very beginning, I would say, focusing on the fundamentals. So focusing on making sure that the product and the product experience is really strong, so that there is strong retention for customers and strong word of mouth. It was also ensuring that the unit economics made sense, right? So that there was enough margin to pay for all of the acquisition costs and all of the delivery costs. And then just really diligent cash flow management, right? So it doesn't sound like anything genius, but
don't you have to inventory a ton of these now that you're selling, whatever it is, 1,000 a month? Like, don't you have to then order 5,000 at a time or 2,000 at a time? But I guess you do get the money up front. How long does it take somebody to get it after they order?
Standard lead time right now is 6 to 8 weeks, but we have...
Okay, so you get to get the money first and then build it and ship it.
Well, and we offer we do stock up on inventory, because it's not that we have 10 different options, right? We try to keep the product mix relatively straightforward so that we don't have to stock up on tons of inventory. But you have to stock up on a ton of inventory if, as we were talking about before, if you manufacture in China and you need to order 10,000 of these.
Got it.
That's one reason why you would have to stock up on inventory. The other reason would be if you don't know or can't predict your revenue. So because we sell to the B2B space, we, from a very early stage, made it a big point to be able to forecast and predict our sales. So predictable revenue from kind of a software perspective. We applied those principles to how we think about...
How do you make it predictable?
Well, it's about having that sales engine, right? And understanding how many leads are coming in through search engine marketing and your other kind of acquisition channels. What are the sales conversion cycles, and how many salespeople? What's the time to ramp?
Do you use salespeople to try to sell these, or is it just go to the web and order it, put in your credit card number?
We started off just e-commerce, right? Yeah. So basically just go to the web. But what we found was that there's an opportunity for us to basically have a Slack-like go-to-market strategy where you can have a really low barrier to entry to start. It can be an office manager in a satellite office that purchases, but then there's an opportunity for our salespeople to bring that up the procurement ladder and then ultimately talk to the CFO or head of real estate or head of facilities and sell hundreds of booths, right? So our acquisition costs, that's how they're so low, because I'll give you an example, because Uber is one of your investments, right?
Yeah, sure.
The Pittsburgh Advanced Technology Group bought, I think, 5 or 6 phone booths to start because they had a problem with noise. Then all of a sudden, people started hearing about this product in the HQ. We had a salesperson talk to the HQ team, went up to facilities, and went up to the real estate team. And now we're selling much larger quantities to Uber across their real estate portfolio. So there's this kind of bottom-up, very sales and capital efficient method for growing accounts.
So if you catch somebody at a big company and it costs you $500 in advertising and clicks to acquire them, and that eats into your margin for the 1 or 2 they're buying, that doesn't matter if you follow up with them and 6 months later they buy 20 of them, and then a year later they buy 200 of them.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the largest order you gotten to date? Have you gotten anybody to buy over 100 of these at once or 50?
We have 2 customers who've purchased about almost 2,000. Sorry, almost 1,000 each.
Really?
Yeah.
1,000 each.
Yeah.
They must have giant campuses of.
Well, these. So we have a very strong product market fit, I would say, with flexible office providers. Because flexible office providers are constantly building new offices. They need to get
the WeWorks of the world.
The WeWorks of the world.
But you don't have them as a client. They're a terrible client. They're cheap.
Well, they're a client that's in turmoil, I guess.
Well,
right?
Now they are. But
yeah.
were they previously buying stuff or?
We actually just received our first order.
Oh, that's interesting. Because they always built the phone booths in when they built out of space.
Yeah.
They would build phone booths. And people don't have to reserve phone booths there, I think. They just can use them.
And their phone booths, I think, to be honest, I'm not sure that they're great products in terms of ventilation and soundproofing.
They're pretty bad in terms of ventilation and soundproofing. They're okay. But yours are super soundproof. You can't hear anything.
They're more soundproof. They're more soundproof for sure.
Yeah. If I'm standing in front of it, would I hear the conversation? If I was right in front of it, or
you would hear muffled murmurs.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then ventilation. That's the number one complaint people have about the ones we have here. Is that even I think they have fans in them, but
ventilation is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And the way that we've set it up is there's an intake in the floor because cold air will sink. And then the fans actually excavate the air above. So it's kind of a natural...
so hot air rises and it blows that out as it rises, and the cool air then goes up.
Exactly.
Huh, all right. It's like a little wind tunnel, but...
So it'll match your ambient temperature more or less exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is there a thermostat in there to turn the fan on, or is it manual?
Well, there's a motion sensor, so as soon as you step in, the fan gets activated, and then will stay on.
So if you're in, then the fan's activated, and it's got power and all that kind of stuff, and a shelf.
Yeah.
So when we get back from this quick break, I want to know why you didn't choose to build a network of spaces in airports or your own sort of WeWork competitor, because I've been pitched on people who have these booths, and there's one company in particular that pitched me, and I forgot the name of it right now. I think they're in New Jersey, where they let you slide a credit card. You can put this in a cafe or something, and you're in a cafe, you can just rent it for $5 an hour. It's just kind of dope as well. I'm curious why you didn't pursue that vision, or if you thought of it when we get back on This Week in Startups. All right, you guys know LinkedIn. You're on LinkedIn all day. Me too. We love it. There's over 600 million members. What you might not know is that 62 million business decision makers visit there. That's right. And 71% of people use information from LinkedIn to make informed business decisions. All of your future customers are hanging out on LinkedIn right now. When you advertise on LinkedIn, you find both these customers and you build long-term relationships with them. Well, LinkedIn ads drive the results you care about most, and LinkedIn's powerful targeting helps you reach the right audience, right down to their job title, right down to the company name and the industry and more. Here is my marketing manager, Maureen, creating an open office hours lead gen campaign. Open office hours is how I meet the next generations of companies that I want to invest in. And here she is. She's looking for founders, co-founders. She sets a budget, $25 a day. She puts the ad up. She uploads the text. And boom, she says, apply now. Here's the form. And look at that, in minutes, we have a campaign up and running, and we get founders to apply to come ask me questions at open office hours, which become episodes of this very podcast. And that's how we get our funnel going. We use LinkedIn to find great founders that we can invest in. I want to give you $100. What? Yep, that's right. I'm going to give you $100 right now in LinkedIn ad credits. And I'm going to let you launch your first campaign by going directly to linkedin.com/thisweekinstartups. No spaces, no dashes. LinkedIn.com, you know that, This Week in Startups. If you type out This Week in Startups, you get $100. It's that simple. Terms and conditions, of course, apply because we're giving you a hundy, but you're going to love it. LinkedIn marketing works. Go get the hundy. Let's get back to this amazing episode. All right, Brian Chen is with us from Room.com. It's a Pegasus, basically. They spent $2 million. They're making 30. Profitable or close? Spitting distance?
Spitting distance.
Yeah. Are you, given the current market turmoil, thinking you should just plow your way right into profitability, or do you want to go back to the market with your $30 million run rate or whatever and raise money and see if people buy that this isn't a lifestyle business?
I think we have a really big vision and the market opportunity is enormous that we want to move quickly. We probably will raise more money. Yeah.
So why didn't you go with the very obvious, like, oh, it's Uber or, rent a space and just slide your credit card and you put these into cafes and it becomes like a pinball machine and that, the cafe now has another revenue stream. Has anybody put these in their cafes?
We've seen our product put in pretty interesting places, including like libraries and in public spaces at universities.
Yeah.
So that definitely occurred to us, and we've seen demand come from airports as well, right? Business lounges, things like that. One of the reasons is for us to stay. We want to stay really focused, and the biggest problem today is in open floor plans, and the demand there is tremendous. And
so maybe someday you get to that. But...
Yeah, exactly. And I think to your point about the Pegasus concept and being capital efficient, that's one of the reasons we've been able to be capital efficient is the focus and the fact that people are paying us and we have margins on the product.
Yeah, you get paid in advance. You don't have to float the cost of putting 1,000 of these in market. What's next? Because obviously you're making a furniture company here that kind of addresses the modern workplace. What will the next products look like? Are you going to go into desks? Are you going to go into...
So I wouldn't call it furniture because I think that the motivating theme for us is how do you build a great workplace environment with zero construction?
Okay, so what other things would be constructed, I guess, is what you would have to ask that you could make prefab.
And for the most part, that's meeting rooms, it's dividers, it's ways to carve up space.
Cafe spaces, maybe.
Yep. It's ways to carve up spaces in purpose-built ways.
So you see like a freestanding conference room kind of product? So if I've got like 13-foot ceilings, you could just sell me a box that becomes like a little box inside of my giant warehouse space?
Exactly. And with a data layer as well, right? Because like we were talking about earlier, if 76% of meetings are 4 people or less, then your meeting rooms should be designed accordingly, right? So we see an opportunity to become experts in how space is being utilized and to provide those spaces for customers in the most optimal way.
So you'll have your own density-like sensors in them. You already do with the motion detector, but they're not connected to a central piece of software that shows somebody what percentage of my phone booths are in use, right?
Well, we already have a couple of pilots that show that where there's an occupancy sensor in our phone booth to show utilization and whether you need more or less.
Yeah, you could also. So do you have the software built to do that, or that's all in beta?
It's still kind of in pilot beta phase.
Got it.
Yeah.
So they're smart by default. They have a Arduino or something in there. They have a computer in there that can relay the data.
Exactly.
And the motion sensor just knows there's somebody in there.
Exactly.
So if you know the utilization, it can tell you if somebody complains that all the phone booths are always in use, you can say, well, actually, we have 1 hour a day where they're at 7 of 7.
Exactly. And I think when people come to us and they know they have a problem with noise and they need to buy phone booths, they often ask, well, how many phone booths should we be buying? What is the right ratio of employees to phone booths?
It depends on if they're salespeople or developers.
It totally depends.
Yeah, or writers.
But for the most part, they don't have a data-driven way to answer that question.
No.
Right? And that's one of the things that we start seeing is like, well, there's such a lack of data when making these decisions, and we're in a unique position to understand spatial requirements for different types of companies and different types of teams.
Is the future going to be people working in a box all day like this? Because I see some people go into these boxes for 2 hours.
It's these boxes should not be private office replacements, right? It should be that you have an open floor plan that has different zones to accommodate different types of activities. Because sometimes you want to brainstorm.
Yep.
Sometimes you want to focus.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to get a phone call.
Yeah. I need to come up with my own booth. I need my own. I want to have like a JCal booth. Maybe we could do a crossover.
What are the features? What features?
Well, I think in my booth, I would like to have the soothing sounds of my guided meditation for founders. And so you just close the door.
Is there a JCal guided meditation on Calm?
It's coming. It's JCalm. And the idea would be you go in there and it says like, you're not working hard enough to have exceptional results. Exceptional results come from exceptional effort. You need to do the work. You're currently phoning it in. Why not consider adding a new skill on your time so that you're more valuable to the company?
Don't
be afraid of adding skills and doing things you haven't done before. Everything in this life you didn't do before you did it. Be brave.
Yeah.
Be confident. And get the fuck back to work. No, I'm going to do any of that. But get back to work.
Jason, you wrote a blog post that was early career advice to recent graduates.
Yeah.
It was like
advice I give to myself kind of situation. I remember that, yeah.
But I give that blog post that you wrote to all of our new hires.
You're kidding.
And that's actually... Going to the Pegasus theme, I would say that's part of the key, because you want people who, as you said in your blog post, if the company needs a blog post, you want somebody to hire somebody who's going to come to you with a solution, not with just more questions.
Right.
But if you start hiring in that way, then your team becomes kind of superpowered.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, if everybody in the team, like literally, if somebody comes to me and they're like, "How do I do something?" and the first thing I say to them is like, what did Google and YouTube tell you?
Yeah.
Like literally, I have people who like something goes wrong in their life and then they never typed into, and I'm talking about like across your entire life. Like, I don't know, they can't figure out how to get the Tesla charger to unplug or something. And it's like, Tesla charger jammed, Tesla charger stuck. And you do that and all of a sudden you find all of them so easy. Many folks will tell you the world is not a zero-sum game, with one person not having to lose at the expense of another winning. This is simply not true. As in most startups, there's a very limited number of seats, and they go to the people who work the hardest and who have the most skill. If you're in your career, you will find that life is a zero-sum game. The winners get the prime positions, and the person who comes in second place for that position is the first loser, not the second winner.
I think that's a different blog post.
It might be a different one. This one you might not want to give to them. They may cry. Yeah. Oh, click on he writes in his blog post. That's the blog post, I think. But there's probably some other things there. Oh, no, they just dumped me to calacanis.com. Yeah, we'll find it later. It's a good post. So you don't think you have to worry about Amazon. You are actually in the space planning and utilization. Space building and space utilization business. Yep. Not just the box.
Exactly.
So whereas I looked at it and was like, oh, it's a box. It's actually optimizing the office and keeping you from having to hire a construction company.
And enabling flexibility.
What does that mean?
It means that...
In this context.
Yeah. So if you're trying to rent a new office...
Oh, for the landlords.
For the landlord.
Yes.
Because if you're spending $500,000 on tenant improvements for a 5,000 square foot office, you're locking yourself in for 10 years.
Are you allowed to put up a wall that is temporary that, you could take out of a box and just use poles or something to have it hit the roof and the floor? Does that exist in the world? I wonder why. I know partitions exist, but they don't go all the way to the ceiling. I wonder if you could take a corner.
They're called demountable walls.
Demountable walls. Oh, so you've done a little research on this.
But they're not. They're also very expensive, and they're not that much more flexible or affordable than actually building it yourself.
Yeah, because they would have to have some kind of spring mechanism or something to lock them in place really well. And by the time you do all that rigmarole, you got to put it yourself because you can't have a wall fall on somebody. That's the key problem.
Yeah.
But you could build depending on the height of the ceiling, you could build a small conference room. And that's what people are doing with these phone booths, is building like small conference rooms. When you have a conference room out by 2020, you think?
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to be the nuts. That's what I need here because I have 2 of these phone booths. What I want to get is a 4-person one that we can fit 4 people in. When are you going to have that? Q second half of 2020 or Q2?
Hopefully earlier.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could be the first person. What's that going to cost, you think? What is a 4-person conference room type thing going to cost? 8,000, 9,000? 7 feels 6,500 feels like the right number.
Well, there are existing products that do it.
Oh, they cost
that
12?
cost 24.
What?
Yeah, it's
That's dumb.
and they're made out of, glass and double pane glass, and they're very expensive materials.
They're unnecessarily complex.
They're over-engineered.
Over-engineered.
And they don't necessarily solve. So what I learned at BlueSmart was we over-engineered the product, right? Like there was location tracking and weight sensing.
That was my favorite part, was the location. But did you have the thing where you pick it up with the handle?
Yeah.
And did it?
There was weight sensing. And the thing is, people just wanted like a nice looking suitcase that would charge their batteries.
They wanted away with the battery. Yeah. It was
at the right price.
essentialism at the right price. So price mattered.
Price matters in this case as well.
I got one of those on Amazon for like $5. They have a scale that you hold in your hand, you hook it onto your bag, and you pick it up. Not because I ever overpack my bag, but I have a friend who overpacks her bag every single time. And every time we check in, we get into a debate with the person who is at the counter. And then we're opening up the bag, trying to figure out what to do with the last 7 pounds that it's over.
You put it on. You wear the jacket.
No,
right?
what you do is you do it before you leave the house, and you're like, this is 7 pounds over. And then you get another bag. It is a life changer. And then the location thing, I actually figured out a way to solve this. Tiles?
Yep.
So Tile has such a robust network now. Tile was like, there were 2 different companies doing this. Tile and, God, what's the other one? Look it up, say Nick, but there were 2 of these tracking companies, and they've now, both of them are very good actually. In like the 5th or 6th versions, the batteries last a long time. They look good, and I just throw those into every bag and backpack. So I just put a number on them. They cost like $20. I put them into every bag. So if a bag does go missing, at least we know when other people have the Tile app on their phone, all tiles my phone will pick up your tile anonymously, send it to their server. Then when you're looking for your tile, it knows where it is if you're not there.
And have you actually found stuff?
We had a missing pair of keys, and our nanny had moved back home, and I was looking for these keys, and then I put the tile alert, and then I got a tile alert from her hometown. So I texted her. I was like, I think you have the set of keys. And she's like, yeah, I don't know. And I was like, might want to check because I have the tile on it. And she found them. Yeah, she had them. Oh. And which is actually, it worked out pretty well because those, keys and those fobs now cost, whatever, $150, $100 to replace. So it's actually worth finding them if you lose them. And is there anything else smart you've thought about putting in these things? Like, do people want anything else in them? Speaking of over-engineering the rooms. Oh, here we go. What is this?
This is 2 days ago.
What is it?
A sticker.
A sticker? Wait, who is this? Which company?
Tile.
Oh, Tile has a sticker. Wow. The Tile unveils, I can't see the headline. You're moving too fast. Go back up. Tile unveils the sticker alongside Refresh Slim Pro and, oh yeah, sticker is that little tiny one. These things really work. And the Tile Slim is really, you can put it in a wallet. And Apple is going to reveal Bluetooth-enabled location trackers to affix to book bags, wallets, and purses. How about AirPods, which you're supposed to be able to find, but Bluetooth is not going to get it done. You need to have this, You need to have the network. That's the thing that makes Tile special is the network.
No,
Do you have any
yeah.
features you're going to add to these things? Or do people ask for anything? They want monitors in there?
Yeah,
They want
absolutely. People want video conferencing capabilities. They want
Can't they just bolt like a Chrome box in there? That's what you should do.
well, and it needs to be kind of like special custom fit though, right? For the right experience. Otherwise it feels too close, or the audio is wrong, or the lighting's not optimal.
So you need to put in one of these. Have you seen these external USB-C monitors that you can travel with? So now they make just a USB-C monitor that's on a kickstand. So let's say you're traveling and you like a 2-monitor setup. When you're in your hotel, you take out a second monitor, it looks like an iPad, and you just plug it into USB, and now you split your monitor into 2.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool kind of concept. If you're really a super geek, you could have like, you could be that guy at Starbucks with 2 monitors, like a CRT monitor. But yeah, you need to just put one of those on the wall, right? In the room, and
Yeah,
some lighting.
But exactly, the lighting and the right distance, so that when you're if you're doing a video demo,
yeah,
you want a great experience. You don't want because that can increase your sales conversion.
Yeah, you should have a nice, beautiful camera, beautiful lighting.
Mm-hmm.
You get that ring around the light. All right, listen. Great job, Brian. Continued success. Congratulations on building a Pegasus. I wish you continued luck for it. If you want to buy a room, go to room.com. Get a room at room.com.
Yep.
All the hotel people must have wanted that, huh? Room.com for hotels. That's who you were up against, weren't you? Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Crazy. I can't believe that you are able to outbid them. You outbid the room people.
Well, it's Pegasus.
It's a Pegasus, so you could. All right. Great job. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.